Okay, hello friends. This is a very short summary of the illusion of knowledge, a Howard Marks memo. Right, full memo can be found here. It's a recent memo dated 8 September 2022. Right, so this is just a one-slide summary of what he said. All right, for the full version, please refer to his website link. Okay, so the bottom line for me, which is Howard Marks, is that macro forecast, right, this forecast here refer to macro forecast, can't be right often enough for it to be worthwhile. And he described it many times, but for the sake of completeness, he's going to restate his view of the utility of macro forecasts. Right? So he says here that most macro forecasts consist of extrapolation of past performance. Right? So for example, if X and Y events occur, Z is the outcome. Alright? Because macro developments don't usually diverge from prior trends, extrapolation is usually successful. That means if in the past X and Y happen, therefore Z is the outcome. When it happens, in this case, for example, in the present time, if I see X and Y happening, I will predict Z to happen. And most of the time, this is correct. Z actually does happen. And therefore, he says that most forecasts are actually correct. Right? But since extrapolation is usually anticipated by security prices, that means to say you're not the only one who is aware that X and Y precedes Z. Right? So everybody already has done the buying and selling such that the prices already reflect that Z will happen. Alright, and therefore if you have this model to tell you that Z will happen, it doesn't help you to enjoy unusual profits. Alright. However, once in a while, the behavior of the economy deviates from past patterns. Right. Since this deviation comes as a surprise to most investors, right, its occurrence moves markets, right? Meaning to say that an accurate prediction of the deviation will be highly profitable, right? So he's saying that if last time X and Y produced Z, this time X and Y did not produce Z, even though it appears to most investors that it will produce Z, right? Instead of producing Z, maybe it produced event A, right? And if you correctly predicted event A, contrarian to the crowd who predicted Z, then you can make a lot of money because you predicted the outcome that happened that most other investors could not predict that it happened. Right? However, how often does this happen? That the behavior of the economy deviates materially from past patterns and people around you could not make this prediction correctly. That means they predicted that X and Y led to Z, but instead, once in a while, it leads to A. He says that this rarely happens. Alright, and most forecasts of deviation turn out to be incorrect. Alright, so if, for example, most of the time last time X and Y produce Z, alright, and you predict it produced event A, most of the time you will be wrong. Alright, and therefore you will lose money. Right, therefore his conclusion is that we have extrapolation forecasts, most of which is correct but unprofitable, right? Because everyone else knows. Or B is potentially profitable because of forecast of deviation. You expect something other people don't expect. You are contrarian, but it's rare to be correct as a contrarian, and therefore generally in a large picture, in a broad picture, you are still not profitable, right? His conclusion therefore is that most forecasts don't add to returns, right? So that is a short summary of what he actually thinks, right? Do let me know if you have any comments on this. Right, with that I thank you for your time. See you again. Goodbye.